To the phones we go again. Let's go to east of the Rockies. Hi, David. You're on the air with us.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Is this George?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. This is a super show tonight. Unbelievable. The only reason I called, I grew up in the southern Illinois area. They call it Little Egypt. Down by Cairo.
Know it well.
Oh, great. Well, in that area, I'm 57 myself. I've all my life heard stories of Egyptian artifacts and finds of different things, the scratchings on tablets or rocks. And I just wondered, I never believed it. Never until I listened to this tonight. And now I'm starting to change. Maybe that's possible. Does this gentleman know anything about that?
Well,
area?
that is true. David, as you know, Glenn Kimball is very involved in that. But I'll let you elaborate if you know anything about it.
You know, I don't know about Glenn Kimball. I'm sure I'd be very interested in it, but
You'd like to meet him. He's pretty good.
No, it sounds like it. And I also live part of the time in Illinois, although I'm not from Illinois, but yeah, very much the whole area of southern Illinois, Tennessee, Missouri, all that area called Little Egypt, all the pyramids and things like that. They've named it those things, and there's absolutely something to that. You know, I mean, if you want to see the ancient highways, of the old world, look at the river systems. That's where big cities were then and still today, where major rivers come together, where rivers meet the ocean, all that kind of stuff. And so, naturally, the Mississippi and Missouri River system is huge. All through that area in ancient times were giant pyramids, pyramid cities, Cahokia and all the many mounds, all through that area. Spiro Mound in Oklahoma. Missouri is just covered with pyramids and mounds. And one of the stories that comes out of southern Illinois, too, is the famous Burroughs Cave story. And that is a story of exactly what we're talking about. Egyptian artifacts found in a cave near the Illinois-Indiana border. I mention it and have part of a chapter in my book on lost cities in North and Central America. There's other books that are written about Burroughs Cave. And there's something to it. The whole idea of Egyptians and other people coming to North America, which they call Turtle Island. If you look at how North America looks with Florida and Baja and stuff like that, it looks like a big turtle, actually, from space, anyway. And that the Egyptians were there. Again, the whole boomerang thing. People traveled all over the world. The Egyptians especially were very clever. They had giant boats, by the way, and in fact, right near the Great Pyramid in Egypt, they dug up a huge, huge boat. I mean, it was put there as some kind of monument or something by the ancient Egyptians, and it's gigantic. Those boats were made out of planks of wood that were sewn together. And they're huge ships, too. And what's interesting about those ships is that even though they were quite large ships and could carry hundreds of people, they could be completely dismantled and carried, as just pieces, as a portage, as we call it today, as portaging canoes and stuff from one river to another around the Great Lakes. That was a very normal thing. But the Egyptians could do that too. So on their explorations around the world, not only could these ships navigate, huge oceans, but if they were going up a river or something like that and they came to waterfalls or rapids where their ship couldn't go, they could actually completely dismantle this very large ship and then carry it, to wherever they could put it back in the water, and then they would assemble it again and go back in. There seems little doubt, really, in my mind, that the Egyptians and many, many Mediterranean cultures and others came to America, settled. Even they talk about the Welsh coming. The whole idea of Columbus, discovering America is a crazy theory, really. And it's almost like just about every other culture in the world probably also came to America. there's a thing about the Olmecs, too, that's interesting. When you look at the Olmecs in southern Mexico, and this is 3,000 years ago, you see every racial type that exists, from very, very Chinese, Oriental-looking guys to very African-looking guys to people who look like American Indians and others that look very Caucasian with big, thick beards and mustaches. So the Olmec world was a lot like America is, this melting pot of people from all over the planet coming, and, today they're Americans. In the Olmec world, all these different people were the Olmecs. That area, too, of southern Mexico is unusual because that is the Isthmus of Tehuantepec. That's an area where the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean come very close together. This is near Oaxaca and Monte Alban, areas like that. When they were going to make the first Panama Canal, they had 3 different places they were going to do it. One was in Panama, the other was in Nicaragua, and the third area was this area of southern Mexico where they thought they would make a canal across the entire continent. What the Mexicans did, instead of actually building a canal, they just put a railroad across that area. But that's also the area of the Olmecs. So you have this, it seems like the Olmec area was this very international, cosmopolitan area where people from the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean all met, and this was the area of the Olmecs. Similarly, in the lower Mississippi area, where all the rivers come together, they were sun worshipers. They had also, throughout North America, people don't realize this, but as far as north as Wisconsin and Michigan, there were Pyramid of the Sun and a big plaza and a Pyramid of the Moon, just like down in Mexico.
All right, let's go back to some final calls. Wildcard line. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Hi, go ahead.
Hey, this is Rob from New London. I was wondering if either of you had heard of Gunjywamp, Gunjywamp. It's in southeastern Connecticut.
Yes, right. I've heard of the Gunjywamp, and I've been around that area. I need to make more trips into that area, and I've been to America's Stonehenge there in New Hampshire, which is nearby. Yeah, the Gunjywamp area is very interesting, and what she's talking about there, George, is if you don't know about it, it's in Connecticut. It's an area of weird megaliths, dolmens, underground beehive buildings, and things like that. Oddball stuff, and made out of big stones. And it's quite unusual. America's Stonehenge is also even a larger complex with standing stones and things like that. And again, it's an unusual, weird place, and mainstream archaeologists just totally ignore it. I mean, they just don't want to even talk about it. It's other dolmens and other weird sites that are up in New England like that, Canada as well. Mainstream archaeologists, just their line on that, America's Stonehenge too, is that, these aren't really ancient, just exotic farmers, eccentric farmers who had nothing else to do, just suddenly made all this weird stuff, including dragging giant stones around and stacking them up for no real reason, apparently. And that's the Gunjywamp area. So, all through America, our country, is tons of unusual, interesting stuff, from pyramids to standing stones to, just deserted cities out in the desert. They don't know who built those things.
Okay, let's go back to the wild card line. Go ahead, Alice. It's your turn.
This is Alice, and I'm calling from Rolla, North Dakota.
Okay.
KFYR radio. David, hi. Hi, George.
Hi.
What I was wondering is, do you know who Mary Summer Rain is?
Oh, I think I might have heard of that name. No, I don't really know who that is.
She has a book out that back in 96, 97, and she studied under a Chippewa medicine woman called No Eyes. And she wrote a book, but she wrote it in fiction because she was fearful for her life. And she, in her book, talks all about this underground city with Egyptian artifacts and everything, with tombs and all that.
Okay, that's interesting. Where is that underground city? Is it in the Grand Canyon?
Yep. Yep.
All right, that's interesting. Well, all right.
And I was wondering, being that you have you got actual